I think we have gone live now with this webinar for all the applicants to the MSc in Neuroscience and Translational Medicine who have been offered places on our course. We are going to give you a few minutes just in case there are problems of all sorts that can happen and trying to access these meetings, including Zoom meetings. I hope everybody can access this well. So we'll wait another minute or so, and then I will start. Right, so I think I will start now. So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining this webinar. I would like to remind you that this webinar is recorded so that we can share them with all those who cannot be here live this morning. So I'm Adina Michael-Titus. I'm the program director, and I think all of you know me already because we have had already discussions about your applications. And it is a pleasure to welcome you to this webinar, where I would like to touch again upon a few of the key points that would be useful to bear in mind as you prepare to join us. So the master's program in Neuroscience and Translational Medicine is hosted by Queen Mary University of London as an academic host. Of course, the program is part of the MSc programs offered by the School of Medicine, but Barton, the London School of Medicine, is part of Queen Mary University of London. And as you may see from this slide, we have beautiful campuses. We have a campus at Mile End. On the right hand of the slide, you see the main building on Mile End Road, but we also have campuses, Charterhouse Square, and we have West Smithfield and Whitechapel, last but certainly not least, the campus at Whitechapel, where the Royal London Hospital is, where this course will take place. So the course is hosted by the Blizzard Institute, where the Center for Neuroscience, Surgery and Trauma is located. It's the biggest research center in the Institute. And what you can see also on the right hand of this slide is an aerial view of the big blue building is the Royal London Hospital, one of the biggest hospitals in Europe. You have also some images of the Blizzard Institute, where you would be joining us for both lectures and other activities and research. And in the middle of this slide, you see the historical building, which will be preserved, of the old Royal London Hospital. So this just to give you a little bit of a picture of the academic institution that you're going to join, and the part of London where we are. The world has changed a lot for all of us in the last 6-9 months or so. And the COVID-19 pandemic has not only changed society in many ways and affected society in many ways, but is also a major challenge for medical research. And I just want to point out the fact that, as you know, we have world-leading researchers and clinicians, and many of our staff are very active in research focused on the questions raised by COVID-19. And here you have just 2 examples. There's a lot more going on. For example, a study led by Adrian Martin, which looks at risk factors for COVID-19, and a study led by Professor Anya McKnight, which is more focused on PCR screening of healthcare workers, published in the prestigious journal, The Lancet. And there is much more going on, like all research institutes and medical schools in the United Kingdom. We are trying to crack many of the mysteries linked to COVID-19 and the tremendous impact of this pandemic on society worldwide. And now I would like to just reiterate some of the important characteristics of our institution. First of all, we are part of the Russell Group of research-led universities in the United Kingdom, and we pride ourselves on excellence in research, and in particular in neuroscience. So as you have decided to join our program, this is fully supported by a very good rationale. We are a center of academic excellence in the field of interest to you. The second point, which matters a lot, I think, at all levels, undergraduate, but certainly postgraduate too, is that we have a very supportive learning environment. Our staff are always available to discuss any problem students may have, to provide feedback and to monitor progress. It is very important to have this network of support involving staff and advisors and academic mentors throughout this full year of master studies. And the third important point is that if you join a research institution such as Queen Mary and Barts and the Royal London School of Medicine and Dentistry, you're bound to be exposed to many interesting events, scientific events, which feature contributors from all over the world, very high-profile speakers, experts in their field. And these events will be open to you, and this will improve your feel for the field and will help you generate a new network of contacts also, which will be very relevant to your career, but beyond the master's year. So as you know already from some of the information we have provided on our website and from discussions we had when we had the interview together, we used a variety of teaching formats. We have lectures as part of the program, of course, but we also have workshops and seminars. Some seminars are led by guest speakers. And we are strong believers in blended learning, and blended learning has become even more important in this period dominated by the impact of a pandemic. So we can offer a combination of teaching formats, and I will expand on this in a moment. It is also important to note that the postgraduate year, the master's year, is characterized by independent study. We give you many tasks and we expect you to study independently. And this is a way of reinforcing the lecture content, and also a way of supporting you so that you deliver the best in-course assessment you can. We use for our learning platform a system called QM+, and this is where you are going to have all the teaching information, all the information related to the course, and we renew this site all the time, and Of course, all the libraries at QMUL have additional material to support learning, and there are study areas for students as well. And you have this platform all the time, which is going to be the platform where you're going to have the teaching and course information. And we have communication with the students also all the time. So it's not only the platform per se, but also the constant communication with the course administrators, with various other contributors to the course. We are a family surrounding you, an academic family, and many members of staff with different roles who are going to support you. I want to make you aware that in this webinar, we have other important people for the program. Samantha is also attending this webinar. Samantha Rose Buckner is our course administrator, and you have been in contact with her. She is an incredible support for students and staff, and she will always be your first contact. And part of our webinar, we also have other colleagues, 2 colleagues today from the Blizzard, who also supports the education programs to various roles, for example, marketing, Wishmi Bomik and David Bell. So these are examples of staff who are part of the center, part of the Blizzard, and they are here to help you with your program, of course, together with all the academics involved in the program. Another important person in your life with us during the master's year will be the dissertation supervisor. As you know, the research project is an important component of the program, and you're also going to have a very special relationship for 3 months with a supervisor who is going to be the person who will guide you and help you organize your activities so that you can carry out a very interesting original research project. And last but not least, all students will have a personal mentor. So these mentors are allocated as soon as the students join us, and they are another level of support for students during this year. So we have already some idea of course, of your backgrounds, and they are very diverse. But what we also would like you to do before you join us is to write for us an essay which gives us some idea of how you think about talking about a scientific topic, how you present your ideas, how you explain things in writing, what your writing style is like, how you use punctuation, the spelling, the referencing system. How you deal with a scientific subject, a topic that you're asked to expand on and explain to a reader. And this would be sent to you by Samantha. And it will not be graded towards a master's mark, but final grade, but it will be important for you to have some feedback on this so that you know already at the beginning of the course, you know where your strengths are and perhaps where the areas where you can improve on are. And this is helping us to make a good start together. And during semester 1, we also organize in general an essay writing skills workshop. This is another opportunity when these essays could be discussed and peer reviewed. So it's very important as early as possible when you start the course to have a reflection of your own performance and be able to highlight the areas where we need to work together so that you become better. So just a brief review of the structure of the program that I'm sure you're all familiar with. So the program consists of specialized modules and core modules, and a research project. So you start semester 1 with fundamentals of drug discovery and development, which is a big module worth 45 credits, and a module on general research skills, which is very important because it introduces you to a variety of skills which are essential for the modern researcher, and that is worth 15 credits. And then the other component of the taught part of the course is this series of specialized disease modules. And we have several modules which are neuroscience modules, as you can see them listed from this slide: neurotrauma and stroke, neuroinflammatory and autoimmune diseases, neuroncology, neurodegenerative diseases, and chronic pain and epilepsy. And we have also been able to introduce 2 optional modules from a parallel master's, which is offered in the Blizzard Institute, the Master's in Regenerative Medicine. And as you can see, one of the modules is about tissue-specific stem cells, and the other module about induced pluripotent stem cells and genome engineering. So students can mix and match. You don't have to take all the electives from neuroscience. You might have just 3 from neuroscience, and then you decide to do others, another one from regenerative medicine. And finally, the last third of the credits, 60 credits, is associated with a research project, which is the last component of the course. So this gives us a total of 180 academic credits, which is the standard credits level for a master's program. And it's important to note that in the neuroscience electives, you would also be exposed to some clinical sessions. And students are always very interested in these clinical sessions. When I have the interviews with the applicants who come to us from all over the world, one of the common questions is about the project and the dissertation. The project is very important. It's around 12 weeks of your year in the 3rd semester. And it is completed by writing finally a dissertation. So you do work either in the clinic or in the laboratory. There is a wide variety of topics which is offered to students because students come to us with a variety of interests, and it's nice to be able to offer a large number of projects. The titles of the projects in the brief abstract describing the project are released in general around beginning of semester 2. And we ask the students to, of course, read the abstract, familiarize themselves with what the project is about, but I'll also arrange to meet the supervisor or the supervisors if there is a team, to find out more about the projects and then to submit their choices. And then we aim to allocate as closely as possible to students their preferred choice. And this is very important because it is a very exciting part of your work. The students love the taught component, judging by the feedback we have every year. But they also get very excited about this challenge of the research project. For some students, it is the first time they are exposed to laboratory work, for example, coming from an undergraduate level where perhaps their laboratory exposure was minimal. So it's a very important component. So what it looks like when we release this project title and abstract, this is a type of thing you get. So, for example, this is a project offered by Professor Shear as primary supervisor. Denise is a specialist in brain tumors, and she offers projects in her field of expertise. In this case, she had a secondary supervisor, another researcher in the team. And as you can see, you have a brief description of the project, and then on the basis of this, it gives you a first flavor of what the project is about, and you can organize to see, in this case, Professor Shear, and have a chat with her and see what the project would entail. It's not only brain tumors, but as you may imagine, because we have such a large center with a variety of neuroscience research themes, you may be doing a project in a totally different area. And this is just a sample of projects from previous years. As you can see, they may deal with how to develop new ways of alleviating chronic pain, questions linked to motor neuron disease, questions linked to developing new neuroprotective regimes for spinal cord injury. So it depends. It depends what your interest is, and you can choose in the field of interest. I know already at the level of the interview, many applicants tell me that they have a particular interest in, say, traumatic brain injury or multiple sclerosis or epilepsy, and you will have a wide choice of topics. Now, one of the important questions that you might want to expand on, there will be, as some of you know already, if you're familiar with the Zoom system, there will be possibility to ask questions at the end of this talk using the Q&A function on Zoom. So one of the common questions is, what happens after the MSc? And I put on this slide some examples of continuations of a student's journey after this MSc. So some students decide to do a PhD. For some applicants, it is clear that they have this intention already when I interview them, that for them, the master's is just a stepping stone after a degree towards a PhD. So a fair number of students will try and continue with a PhD. And some of them stay with us if we have PhD studentships available. They seem to really like the place and decide to stay with us. And this is a real pleasure for us to see our students then blossom into doctoral students. But other students may elect to continue a career as researchers on a research assistant position in academia without registering for a higher degree, or they might look immediately for employment in industry. Some students choose the masters to develop alternative careers away from the lab, for example, science publishing or science administration. And this is equally interesting to see. Last but not least, of course, we have a number of medical students who take this master's program. So some medical students may take it in the middle of their studies, and then they return to medical school to complete their training. Some students who have a degree, a science degree, and do the master's with us, then try and start medical studies. And this is another possibility. And last but not least, the people who are already clinically qualified who join us for a master's, after the master's continue their clinical career. So there are many opportunities, and I should mention we have a LinkedIn alumni network, and there is a lot of support throughout the year from the careers service, and we try and discuss about career options with students throughout the master's year. Well, there is an important question, of course, also this year that is different from all other years we had on this master's program, and it's not only on this master's program. How will this pandemic affect the master's program? So, as I confirmed to all of you when we had interview discussions, the MSc program will run. There is no discussion about it. It will be offered this year with exactly the same academic content. And the only difference is that we need to teach and keep safety at the same time in a very uncertain and rapidly moving landscape. Because as you all know, from all over the world, it is not over yet. So it's it is the case that teaching in semester 1 will be very much a blended learning teaching. So there will be synchronous and asynchronous activities. What I mean by this is that many lectures or seminars may be pre-recorded and uploaded on QM+, the platform I mentioned before. You will have various tasks that you can do by accessing QM+. You may have some tasks as an individual student or as a group, and some lectures will be delivered live, but again, online. All our campuses, our beautiful campuses, will be open. They are open already for research, but there are distancing rules that we need to follow. And we will have as many on-site activities as possible within safety rules. And we need to keep the environment safe for students and for staff. And also we need to follow the national guidelines in the United Kingdom, in England in particular. So the situation is rapidly moving. And for updates, you have indicated on this slide the website where you can go and check regularly for updates. We are very aware that the pandemic is posing a challenge in more ways than one. For example, the international students who need to come to London, and the issue of free circulation between countries, the issue of quarantine and so on. But this is a rapidly evolving landscape. So I would say probably not every week, every day almost may bring a change. Just to reiterate, the masters will run with exactly the same academic content, of which we are very proud. And we are looking forward to teaching you, but we are going to do it a lot online, either with pre-recorded lectures or live lectures and a variety of other activities, and you'll have a variety of resources and tasks to do to support the learning. And if we can do on-site activities safely, we will organize those as well. And we'll make sure at all times that you are safe. So I think this is a summary of the key points I wanted to share with you. And all we can say is that we are very much looking forward to seeing you, to seeing our students in September. And if there are any questions, I'm very happy to take questions. I'll have a quick look to see if you have placed any questions on Q&A. I see a question by an anonymous attendee. I know that induced pluripotent stem cells is part of tissue-specific stem cells. I want to know the difference between tissue-specific stem cells modules and induced pluripotent stem cells and genome engineering. I think to answer this in detail, you would need to access the information from the masters in regenerative medicine. So I'm sure that after this webinar, we can help you have more clarity on this if it's a matter of urgency. I should have said, and I just want to make it clear, that you will make your choices of modules once you are on site, and you can have many questions of this type clarified when you are with us already. How many contact hours will we have per week? I think we are expected to have contact and engagement at least around 15 hours a week. It's important to realize that this is a little bit different when you talk about online versus on-site. I'm not sure whether your question refers to contact with the lecturers only. or what other contact you have in mind. But if you write a more detailed question, then we'll be able to answer it. Well, in general, in a week, you're pretty busy at least half a day every day, something like that. You might have a day when you're not free. I will leave Samantha to give a detailed answer to this. But I think we need to think of teaching at postgraduate level not only as teaching that involves contact hours. And I want you to be aware of this, that this is quite different, perhaps, quite different from the undergraduate level teaching. In undergraduate level teaching, it may be much more driven by contact hours and not so much apart from those contact hours, but you're going to have many tasks to do offline in your own time. And those will be substantial. This is a level 7 master's program. And it is very important to realize that it is a full-time activity. So it's not only the contact hours which are important for the course. You'll have many tasks which will require independent study, as I said.
Hi, there's a question about the essay that you're going to do over the summer. This essay, I'm going to send you these details today, and it will be submitted within the second week of the semester. So it won't be the welcome week, it'll be the first week of the semester, and it will be on QM+.
Great, thanks, Sam. Well, I'm going to leave this open for another minute or two. So if you have any last-minute questions, please feel free to ask them, either in Q&A. You know, you can unmute yourselves also, maybe. I'm not sure it's possible within this meeting, but if not, please use the Q&A function. Any question that is on your mind. And if for some reason you can't think of how to formulate it, or it may come to your mind after we finish this session, don't hesitate to send questions to us following this webinar. Okay, so I'll give you another 2 minutes. Okay, I think there might be another question, I'm not sure. When will we have access to QM Plus is the question. Well,
I'll answer that. So once you have enrolled, there's a couple of stages. You have something they call pre-enrollment, and then you fully enroll. After you fully enrolled, then you'll have access to QM Plus. So this will probably be early September, at the latest mid-September.
That's right. QM Plus is an internal platform. So yes, so you cannot have access to it until you come to us. So, so last minute for last questions, and then we'll wrap up. I want to thank you all for joining this webinar. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing you all. I hope you all have a good summer. I'm sure it's been a tricky time for most of you completing undergraduate studies, and I'm sure you've all done very well. How many days? Okay, we have a last minute question. How many days are given for the master's dissertation? Sam, would you like to take this question?
Hi, yes, hi. With the dissertation, you are expected to be in the lab if your project is lab-based, or working on your project daily. You should be in there in the lab from the morning to the afternoon. It sounds quite strenuous, but if it depends on the experiments that you're doing, and it can take a while to get results. So you're expected to be in the lab with your supervisor throughout the day, and that could be every day of the week. But of course, it depends on who your supervisor is, and you can have discussions of if for some reason you have to work or you have other commitments, you can discuss it with your supervisor. But we do expect you to be there daily 5 days a week during the semester free.
Yes, yes, indeed. I mean, the research time is quite precious. Of course, when you're busy in the lab or in the clinic, maybe, or patients, but you're expected to read at the same time about the background to the project and to start writing. And yeah, so it's a continuous process. It's not only just you do nothing on the dissertation and then you do something at the end. So it's going to be the master's project and dissertation is going to be 3 months of parallel work, not only generating data but also going to write. And then you have some extra days to complete at the end of the 3 months or so. Okay.
Sorry, just one more thing.
Yeah.
When we are able to offer clinic sessions, you will be allowed to go to occasional clinic sessions during semester fee when you're taking a project. So that will be possible, but of course this has to be agreed with your supervisor beforehand.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So let's see if we have any new questions. I cannot see any. Good. So I will wrap up, I think, and thank you for joining this webinar. And as I said, we're very much looking forward to seeing you with us in the new academic year.